Hello everybody. I am just here to just play around, and so if anybody joins me, great. If you don't, that's okay too. No worries, no worries. But I said I would do an impromptu probably this week if I had time, and I have a few minutes. Hi, Connie. I have a few minutes. My voice is a little a little more than croaky, but you know, it is what it is this morning. I have a coffee to try to get the vocal cords working. I haven't talked. Hi, Linda. I'm so glad you're here. Haven't managed to get the vocal cords working yet this morning because they have been not talking. Anyway, so what I'm doing is just playing around with this little tree, this little gnome house that is going to go on the cover of this is going to be a holiday journal is the plan, with a gnome theme. I'm not one of those people that generally themes everything, but I decided to do that on this one. So we're going to make it gnomes. Anyway, so what I'm doing, just as a review in case somebody new is watching, this is on watercolor paper. Not necessarily good watercolor paper, but watercolor paper nonetheless. So it came from Walmart in the B paper line. And I drew this based on just looking at different images online where I Googled gnome houses. And who knew? There were lots of images. There really were. And you're only going to get one shot of me today because I have on zero makeup and my hair is not done. So, you know, you get to see my hands and that's it. So, anyway. Let's see what else. So I painted it first of all with watercolor paints, just washes of watercolor paints. And then I came in with colored pencils, Prismacolor pencils, detailed and added some indication of branches and movement in the tree, and down here some stones in the doorway and that kind of thing, windows and all that. Indicated all that and detailed that with Prismacolor pencils, and then I shaded them, which I wasn't sure whether it was going to work because I hadn't tried it before, but I shaded with Prismacolor pencils, and then I used some odorless mineral spirits and some blending stumps, which I seem to have hidden from myself at the moment. Blending stumps that I then blended out the colored pencil. Yeah, oh, here they are. I have so much stuff on my desk that's the problem here. So I blended the Prismacolor pencil using the blending stump, which I touched into the sponge that's in here, where there's odorless mineral spirits, odorless paint thinner, and then blended it. That's where I got to. Okay, so now you're up to speed. And that's what I did with all of this. And then I came back, and up here on the top tier of the tree, I added some wreaths and some ornaments and some strings of whatever those are. Could be lights, could be ornaments. I don't know what they are exactly. But we're going to come down here, and I'll work on this next level, and this I have added the bones of the greenery with a black pen. And I made each level just a little bit different, so it wasn't repeating the same thing over and over. and then added a few little things down here, added some wood grain in the doorway to make it different from the stones. Anyway, got you up to speed. Okay, so I'm using a dual brush. These are markers that I've had forever, and after I put the black bones on, then I'm going to use this. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. But that kind of gets you up to speed on where I am. So I just decided I would whip on the camera, since I had said the last time I streamed, I said, well, I'll do some impromptu streaming, and then I had not had a chance. We were at a granddaughter's volleyball game last night, and so we were kind of a little bit late getting home last night. And yeah, so that's what's going on here. So I just haven't had time to turn the camera on. This morning the house is quiet, and I should be organizing and putting things away. But you know what? I'd rather do this, and I need to get this done so I can get this journal constructed. So I can paint some of the gnomes and so forth in the book, because I would really like to have a lot of the artwork done before I start into the holidays, which for me are going to start with Thanksgiving, which is in November here. And so I want to have that ready, hopefully ready to go by November. I can always do some art in it. That's perfectly fine with me, but I thought, yeah, I'd like to have most of it ready to go. Anyway, hopefully you guys are here. I see Linda and Connie in the chat. If you want to chat, you're fine. If you don't want to chat, that is also fine. I will probably chat, or as I think of something to talk about, or maybe not. Who knows? So these are water-based markers that I'm using. Watercolor markers, water-based markers. I think they're watercolor. I'm not sure. They're old. These are super old. I don't even know where I got these. To tell you the truth, who knows where they came from. Sometimes people give me stuff. I had a friend a long time ago who passed away from cancer, and I ended up helping clean out some of her stuff. She was into scrapbooking. She had cerebral palsy, pretty profound cerebral palsy, and the amount of things that she could do with her physical limitations were incredible. And I ended up helping to clean out some of her things, and so some of her stuff found its way into my stuff, because that's the way we do things, right? And I donated a lot of her things to people who didn't have many supplies, and so that worked out really well. But anyway, the point of this rant, chat, whatever, is that sometimes I don't know where some of the stuff comes from. Anyway, so that is, I don't know what color this is. Let's see. It's made in Italy. I don't know, it's kind of a grass green. So, and then I'm going to go to this green, which is, this is a Tombow green. And this one, I don't know why they don't put names on all these things. It's color 173, whatever that is. These are brush markers, and they're double-ended. So I like the brush marker, even though the brush marker is kind of big. I do kind of like it because you can flick it, and it's not going to show up here very much, but that's okay. I'm going to still put a little bit of this light green in. Even if I don't see it a lot, I know it's there, and it does kind of help blend some of those, the other green a little bit. Just gives it a little more depth. But I like the brush marker because you can flick it and it gives you a wispier end on your greenery. So, as much as anything, it just gives a little bit more depth to the greenery, even though you might not be able to see it. It does make it a little bit of a difference. You got the templates. Oh, good. Good. Linda, in case you weren't here when we were starting this project, there are links in the description box below the video. One link will take you to a drawing for this little tree if you're interested in it. Certainly, you may not be interested in it, and that's certainly fine. The other one is 6 sketches of gnomes that I drew. All of them are inspired by other things, and so none of those are copyrighted or anything. You are welcome to use them. You just can't sell them because they are inspired various things. None of it's copied, but a lot of it is inspired by other things online. Anyway, you can download them. If you have the ability to print, you can print them out and use them. Make cards, use them in journals, whatever you want to do. Anyway, they're there. So there are 2 links that are downloadable. There's obviously no charge for them. You are welcome to them. Okay, I'm just flipping a little bit of lighter green in here. A little bit of greenery above these little windows. Okay, so we've got some greenery going on. Oh, you said thank you. Oh. Oh, gotcha. Don't always, it's clear that I don't always get to follow the chat. Don't always get to do that. Okay, I'm going to put some little red dots. I'm going to put some red dots a la what's up here in this area, just to indicate berries or ornaments or something. I'm going to use a red Posca pen, and this is the extra fine point. It's the really tiny one. And so what I do is I keep a piece of watercolor paper available, and then just so I have something to test out. Okay, so let's, I'm going to put this in the wreath area. The contrast between green and red, because they're opposites on the color wheel make both colors sing, and so that's why I'm doing that. And I'll put some out here in the greenery boughs. Not a lot, but a few little dots. The trick is keep your hand out of it. Work, if you're right-handed, work left to right. If you're left-handed, work right to left. Because it does take a minute for the Posca pen to dry. And so the trick is keep your hand out of it. I don't always follow my own rule. I don't. I can tell you how you ought to do it, but that doesn't mean I always follow my own rules. I don't want to put too many in the greenery that's hanging in the windows, over the windows. And I put the windows at different levels on purpose because I think it's probably would be a wonky little house, and you don't live in a tree house anyway, right? But in our little world, this little gnome house world, I think that they probably have their windows wherever it would fit in the tree. So this one down here has greenery over the door and also a little wreath hanging in the window and a red door knob also. Okay. All right, so hopefully that will get dry here pretty quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and trim the tree a little bit. I like kind of what's going on up here. It's just a pretend little thing. Hi, Shue. Hi, Carol. Good to see you in your quiet corner. I like Carol's name, in her quiet corner. Yesterday was a quiet day here until we had to leave to go to the ball game. I'm stalling just to let this dry. And I'm not turning any other camera on today because I look like something the dog dragged in. Except we don't have a dog now. Last night we thought we were going to have a dog because there was one that was clearly lost out here, and we stopped. It was when we were coming home. We stopped and we were trying to get it to come to us, and a vehicle came from the other direction and scared it off. So I don't know. I hope the dog finds its way home, or finds a home, or finds us, or something. Anyway, we don't have, the point of that diatribe was that we don't have a dog right now. We lost all 3 dogs within about 6 weeks of each other. It was very shocking, honestly. But we're taking a little bit of time to find the new one, whoever the new one is. Okay. I am just blathering today, as you can tell. Hi, Dorothy. And I'm just blathering as I try to watch the chat and do this. Yeah, I'm trying to. We'll see how this works. Good to see you, Dorothy. Okay, so let's put some trim on this little next branch. And I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. I kind of like this twisty rope thing, so I may just do that because I kind of like that. Kind of like it. Okay, hopefully all the red dots seem to be dry. Okay, let's go for it. Let's just go for it and see what happens. And maybe I will just, yeah, we'll let them span over the little sections. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and, since this is paint pen, I'm going to go ahead and complete this. Just making it a little bit of a twisty, ropey kind of situation. Tell you the dust out here, I have not had fall allergy issues in a long time, but boy, the dust out here, because of all the increased traffic we have on the road in front of our house right now, because they've closed. Oh, long story. They're redoing the interstate, which is not too far from our house. Okay, let's just keep going on here before I get off on a rant. Doesn't mean I won't come back to it, by the way. Okay, let's continue. What I'm after is just kind of a twisted, ropey looking kind of thing as a place to hang whatever those are, lights or ornaments or whatever they are that I've got going on there. I like the contrast of the line being thicker than some of the other lines. Okay, good enough. Anyhow, okay, so that'll be that part. And I won't be on here for a super long time. Because I have to meet my realtor at my house. So we are getting closer to getting my house sold. Closer and closer. Okay, I'm just trying to mimic the colors of Posca that I used up here. And maybe we'll add this one. So just nice and colorful. Hello, Butter. You know, Muppet had she was really old. She was almost 18, or she was 18. I've forgotten now. I'd have to go back and look at her records. She was really old, and she was having more and more problems, and but she was still hanging in there, and she was still happy. She was so happy. She loved Elton so much. She was a man's dog. And she loved him so much. And, okay, we're going to put some of this color on here while I'm chatting. And one Sunday night, she had been doing well, although, you know, she was becoming increasingly incontinent, which is difficult. You know, I can't even tell you how much laundry I did for that dog. It was a lot. And I had waterproof blankets for her. And, you know, she could no longer hear. She'd lost her hearing. gradually lost her hearing a while ago. And one Sunday night, we were working downstairs in the lower level of the house, and I came up, and she had been really, really sick, like belly sick. And that was really unusual. I mean, she just rarely ever had a problem like that. And so at that point, I had a pretty good idea that we had something going on. I didn't know what, but we had something going on. And so I'm just trying to make order, keep myself, as I'm talking, trying to keep some order in my markers over here. So if every once in a while I get distracted, you'll understand why. Anyway, so I stayed up with her quite a while that night, and she was sick a couple more times. And so I thought, we're going to have to go in. We're going to have to at least go in and talk to the vet on the next day. And by the next day, they couldn't see her until like 2 in the afternoon, or late morning or early afternoon. I've forgotten what it was anyway. And I knew she loved to eat, and she always did enjoy eating. And the next day she refused food, and she wasn't drinking water. And so I said, we are probably at the end here, because I had been watching. They're really good. Animals are really good. Sorry about the throat. I'm just not. I don't have much voice today. Like I said, went to a volleyball game last night, and the team, granddaughter's team won, which was really cool, but it was pretty hard on my voice. Okay, there's that row. We'll let that one sit. And I'm going to repeat the same colors down here at the on this bottom section. So anyway, we went, by the time Elton came home to get me to take, I'm so sorry, to take her to the vet, she was not looking at me. She was, and when they do that, I've had a number of animals do that, where they refuse to look at you anymore. And she did that. And I said, I think we're at the end. And so when we went to the vet, I had called them and told them that I thought I didn't think there was anything they were going to be able to do. I didn't think this was going to be a virus or an issue like that there was something that was fixable. And so they were prepared for us. I sat in the back of the van with her and held her, and she never even raised her head. So, she was done. She was quite done, and she made herself, she made it very apparent. And so that's what happened. So we had to say goodbye to her that day. And yeah, so it was, it's a funny mixture of really difficult, and also there was a certain relief, because life had been getting harder and harder for her. She was having much more difficulty. She couldn't even, that last day, she couldn't even get up. And, so we were having to carry her. And so it was a hard day for her. And yeah, so that's what happened. Basically, she was just at the end of her lifespan. So she lived a very long life, and she had a very good life, and she was a very sweet girl. Super great companion. Super great companion. And, okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the ornaments in the tree while I'm here. We miss her a lot. I miss her especially during the day when I'm here by myself. 'Cause she was my... I moved out here with both Chance and Muppet. And, all right, let's see if we can put some of these down here also. This is a morbid discussion I'm having with you guys. I'm so sorry. I really am. I didn't intend to have a morbid discussion with you, but it is what it is. When you have older animals, it's what happens. So if this bothers you, please don't listen. These are just various colors of Posca pens that I'm sprinkling some ornaments around in the tree. But I do miss having her here. And I certainly miss Mr. Chance. He was so vocal. But we inherited 2 cats from the neighbors who moved away and left their cats. And so we inherited them, and they are wonderful cats. They are very much outdoor, as well as they like to come in. They particularly like to come in at night and get patted. They like their pats. I don't think I'm going to put any ornaments in the tree here, or in the garland. Of course they're in the tree. And then we have 2 other outdoor cats who are the hunter cats. Sorry, that's my timer for the... I know, we lost all the Muppet and the sponsors now. We sure did. And they were all just the greatest. All of them. And they all lived such long lives. I was very, very blessed by that. Because I know that sometimes Siamese don't live all that long. And Charlie lived to 16 and Chance lived to 18. Yeah, he was 18 and Muppet was 17. That's what it was. I think. I believe I'm correct about that. Okay. Let's put some of these. I'm just trying to make this as colorful as possible because I want it to be fun. I want it to be a journal that I look forward to working in. And by having it nice and colorful, that's I can't seem to draw a round circle today. That's what makes it fun for me. Color. Anyway, So sometimes when I get, particularly melancholy, I let the outdoor cats come in, and they think that's pretty cool. But they're always ready to go back out, because that's what they like. They like to be out. We live out we're surrounded by woods, and so there is lots of hunting to do. And I appreciate those cats doing the hunting. I really do. I really appreciate that, because I don't much like mice and stuff. I really don't. The other thing I'm going to do here is I have a gold marker. It's gold marker by Pilot. Somebody talked about it. I don't know who. I don't remember who. Anyway, Pilot gold marker. And it is a brilliantly gold marker. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little ornament topper on, not that I'm doing a great job of it, but just a little ornament topper on the top of these little baubles. So anyway, yeah, it's we joked about the fact that we were running a hospice for dogs and cats, and it honestly was true. It was very true. That is what we had going on here. We were taking care of the aged and infirm. So we've had a number of people say, well, we'll go with you to get a new dog. And I'm like, we both agreed, Elton and I agreed, that we were going to have to do that together so that we could agree on personality and so forth. There's part of me that wants a puppy, because then you're not trying to correct somebody else's issues, which I have done a number of times with dogs. Hey, Starla. I have had to correct issues with animals, behavioral issues, and Muppets issues were because the people, whoever had her before us, just didn't know how to deal with her. And she was anything but an easy dog to deal with, I can assure you. I'm just shooting the breeze while I wait for this to dry. She was not an easy dog to deal with in her younger years, and she required an enormous amount of attention and she and I walked. The first 2 or 3 years I had her, I figured that I had walked, I calculated at one time, and it was like I'd walked like 750 or 1,000 miles with that dog. We walked a lot because tired dogs are good dogs, and they don't chew. There's a lot of things that tired dogs don't do that. Hopefully this is dry. No, still not. Okay, we're going to give it another minute. So we walked a lot, and she had to walk at my side. She couldn't be, and that was always, if I had my face-to-face camera on, I'd have it on right now talking to you, but I don't. So you're just going to have to look at what I'm doing and listen to me talk while I wait for this gold paint to dry. Okay, I think it's dry. Anyway, so we walked and walked and walked and walked and walked many miles together. And that was when we had Sandy, our golden retriever. And she walked with us. Muppet always wanted to be in charge. Muppet was the kind of dog who, if you weren't the pack leader, she was going to be the pack leader. That was just the game that she came into the world with, and it's also how she had survived. She had been adopted as a puppy, and I think my guess is because of her age, that she was adopted as a Christmas puppy, and then when she started, into her, she passed that real cute stage, and she was into the stage where she needed training, and they had no idea what to do with her. She was super active, combination of breeds. I didn't say that right. She was a combination of super active breeds. And they didn't know what to do with her. And not that I'm a dog expert, believe me. But I've trained a few of them. Her problems were unique. She didn't trust UPS drivers. She hated UPS trucks. Anything that was color brown. She hated anything that was on a stick. A broom, a shovel, a rake, anything that had a handle on it or a stick. The first time that we discovered that, we had a garden cart, and we couldn't find her. And I mean, she was in a fenced-in backyard, and we couldn't find her. And we finally found her. The cart was leaned up against our fence, and she had found a way to get under the cart, behind it, and she was cowering in the corner under the cart. And all we had done was get out the rakes and had started raking leaves in the yard. And that's when we discovered that it was going to take some work to get her over that. We finally did. And she would still watch you if you got out a broom or a shovel or a rake or anything like that. She would watch you, but she would never run and hide. But it took a while to get her past that, because her past just would come back and haunt her. When I'd walk her, if we passed a UPS truck or a UPS driver, she would want to take his leg off or attack the truck. And so that was a challenge. What kind of puppy do you have, Starla? Puppies are a lot of work, and I don't know if I'm up to that. The house training and all that. I know how to do it, but yeah. Okay, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to detail the ornaments. Hopefully all this is dry. We're going to find out. I'm outlining the ornaments with a 005. So it's a tiny, tiny little nib. You almost have to outline the ornaments. Otherwise, they just disappear into the tree. Anyway, Miss Muppet, when she was... The walking is what allowed her to live with herself. If we didn't walk her twice a day, And I mean pretty length. We're not talking a walk that's, a couple blocks, not around the block. We had to walk her at least a mile or two twice a day. And then on days when the weather was bad, we had to figure out what to do, because as long as we drained her energy, she was good to go. When we didn't drain her energy, she was a mess. She couldn't live with herself. Some of these are just going to kind of hang in midair, but some of them can hang over the edge of a branch. So we ended up buying a treadmill, a used treadmill, and actually we bought more than one treadmill in order to find one that was a good fit for her, that worked okay. And people couldn't believe we were buying a treadmill for the dog, but it worked, and it would drain her energy. She didn't like it so much, but she sure felt better afterwards. And then the other thing was Claus Man built brackets. Well, he didn't really build it, he just kind of assembled it. A bracket that went on the back axle of our bicycles. We each had bicycles. And the bracket also had a spring. And the spring attached with a carabiner hook attached to a harness that we put on Muppet. And then that attached her to the bicycle. So the spring allowed her to have some freedom of movement, not a lot. And then we would always ride so that she was next to the curb. So she was protected from cars and stuff. And we only rode in our neighborhood, so that helped. But we turned her into a bloomin' athlete, and that dog, he'd get on, most of the time he rode with her because she was so strong. For a small dog, that dog was some kind of strong dog. And so Claus Man would ride with her. See if I missed any other ones. Miniature dachshund. Ah, gotcha. Hey, Shelley, I've been thinking about you. I was going to call and talk to you, and I just haven't done it. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, she became such an athlete. That dog became such an athlete. We're talking about Muppet. Yeah, what's going on? Okay, that pin is not working. Why do we keep pins and pins, paint pens and stuff? Why do we keep them when they don't work anymore? I really need to see if this will work. I would like for this one to work. Yeah, it works enough. It works enough. All I'm after is a few little indicators in the windows, which you may or may not be able to see that it's glass. Anyway, so by the time Muppet achieved her full potential that summer, Clausman would get on his bike and hook her up, and I would put the golden retriever on my bike. We had the same assembly on my bike, and she would pull him for a couple of blocks. Muppet would. Now, she wasn't a great big huge dog, but boy, she turned into an athlete. Her thighs, the thigh on that dog, on her, haunches, her thigh was about 5 or 6 inches across, because she had built her muscles so much. The downside of that is we kept having to do more and more and more with her to try to wear her out. It was pretty, she was a real unusual dog. Okay, you guys, that is the tree from the 440th floor that's going to go on this, which is going to be a journal cover. That's going to go on here to be the front cover of this holiday gnome-ish journal. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do. I haven't decided yet. I have these great pieces of fabric. I mean, these are really nice pieces of fabric. These are from the Tim Holtz collection. I'd never seen his collection of fabric before, but these happen to be in my local quilt shop. But what I think I'm going to do, this is clippings. This is like what he does with stickers and that kind of thing. These are all clippings of Christmas quotations and stuff. And I think what I'm going to do, let's just try one here while I'm yammering on instead of just thinking out loud. Let's just try one. Anyway, let me just do this instead of, okay, I'm just going to come across here. And I'm just going to cut a few of these. I know you can't see because I know the light is washing it out, but you'll see here in just a second, okay? And we'll find out whether this is even going to work. This was one of those thinking about it in the night kind of thing. Let me go a little bit further. When you can't sleep because you had coffee too late. It's one of those where I was thinking about this the other night, and as I'm laying in bed with my eyeballs staring at the ceiling going, you need to go to sleep, because if you don't go to sleep, it's going to be bad news. Oh, thank you, Dorothy. So here's what I'm thinking I'm going to do, because the join, let me zoom in a little bit. The join between the blue of the sky section and the green of the ground section it's not exactly what I like, and with this I stitched this so it's nice and flat, but it's not exactly what I liked. And so I thought what I would do is this, and put these, because this is really thin, so the curve is very subtle. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these Christmas clippings along there like that, and then I'm going to put this, because this will be the front cover, and then that makes that that makes sense to me, and I like that. And it says Christmas. I mean, the tree says Christmas, but that definitely says Christmas. So I like that. So I think that's going to work. Yeah, I think that's going to work. So probably what I'm going to do is put some fusible web on the back of this because that's really thin, and then fuse it down first and then come in and do a tiny little zigzag or something around it. And that picks up the tree trunk stone kind of color, and the actual color is a little bit more like that, where the lights aren't hitting it quite so hard. So anyway, there's that. Remember, because I've got to go here, but remember, if you want the downloads for those, the gnomes, this is the download of the gnomes, and then the tree is also available. So there's the download for the tree, and those are both, the links are both in the description box below the video. Okay, so I think that's going to work. I like that. I think I like that real well. That was a good thought in the middle of the night. Indeed it was. You never know. Okay, I have to get myself together and go for a meeting. And so I'm going to do that. And thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. And you never know when I'll be back again, because I still need to get this Christmas card. That's what this is going to be for. I need to get this Christmas card finished up. Anyway, so I'll be back again. I don't know when. But until then, for sure I'll be back on Friday, but I could be back before then. Not sure. Great to have you guys join me. Hi, Linda. So it's great to have you guys join me. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit, and I will see you guys when I see you. I don't know when, but before you'll know it. So as always, remember to get creative today. You know it's easy. You saw it here first. I'll see you later. Bye for now.